we're definitely seeing that shift. We're seeing wish pricing go away. We're seeing massive reductions in some cases. We're seeing rental units stay on market longer. The people that were Airbnbers and they're seeing their vacancy rates much higher than they ever have been. Because much fewer Canadian visitors.
Yeah.
So they're seeing a lot of that stuff. And I think, yay for me, so sad for them. They weren't diversified.
Alrighty, folks, we got the existing home sales numbers this morning, and they were both ugly and frankly, exactly what I called. I called the number on the nose, 3.93 million. Nailed it. But what I think most people are realizing is this is not a time to be scared. This is a time to be greedy. I want to be very, very, very clear. July and August are going to go down as perhaps the best time in the last decade to write disrespectful offers. Again, folks, I will tell you about a property I've been tracking for 45 days now. I'm a day away from writing an offer at $300K. Why is that disrespectful? Nice. They want 400. Again, I only write deals that make sense in cash flow today at today's rates. I don't care if rates are 7%. I want it to cash flow today. It'll be listed for 75 days tomorrow. And by the way, I have multiple properties I've been tracking. I'm just going to go down the list until I get a yes answer. Folks, you're not thinking about the market the right way. Again, in my opinion, in most of the country, the next 2 months will be the best time to write an offer. I'm not saying buy. I'm saying write disrespectful offers. Dion, I'm going to go to you first on this one. What do you think of this message?
Well, when I hinted at what my opinion was, Matt called me a bunch of names off camera. So let's see if that happens in the video. I always like how you get me laughing and then we hit record. And so
they're still there.
They're still there. This is the best time to write those offers. I think all of us have made dozens, if not more than dozens of videos on don't time the market. Time in the market beats timing the market. I talk about the two things that tell us when to buy. It's not rates, prices, or rents. It's not a prediction of 6 months from now. It's none of those things. It's, are you ready? And did you find a great deal? And those have little subsections, but
sure.
I'm timing the market this year based on a couple of things. So one of the things I've learned is Zuber is much smarter than I am.
Yeah,
much more educated than I am in the finance.
In this little piece of the world, this little piece,
much more intelligent in this aspect, right? So, in 2020, I purchased my triplex because you were talking about interest rates, and I wasn't paying attention to interest rates. They started going down so low, I was like, I'm going to empty my retirement accounts and buy. It wasn't that I tried to rush or tried to wait. It was, I thought, okay, I'm going to pull some levers to buy now because this is a good time to buy. Mm-hmm. Well, right now, Trump wants Jeremy Powell out.
Oh, yeah.
He has tried legally to go, okay, you went over budget on your office rehab with a $2 billion budget. You went 600 million over. Let's get you fired. Didn't work. So there's been a couple of cases like that. So whether he can get him out early or if he has to fill out his term and he steps down from his position as chair and then he's just on the board in, was it April of 2026?
May
of 2026. Whoever gets put in that position next is going to lower rates.
Oh yeah. It's funny. I actually think Dion, sorry to interrupt, but I think there's a very good chance that Mohammed El-Arian this morning, he put out this tweet and I actually agree with it. He thinks we're going to repeat last year. What does that mean? It means the Fed's going to hold rates in July and then they're going to realize that they're behind the curve and the economy is tanking and the unemployment rate's not as, the 4.1 is a fictitious or dirty number and it's going to force them to cut 50 in September. So, and that's with Powell at the helm, right? That happens with Powell, not with, Powell being fired. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. So the reality to me is I know exactly when rates are going to come down. I know exactly the day, and it's the day prices go way up. So I'm not rushing to find a deal. What I'm doing is I'm changing my workload. I was not in buy mode for the last year. I didn't want to buy. I didn't want to add. I've got the right amount of cash flow from the least amount of units. The money's piling up, so I will buy a rental eventually. But this is the window of opportunity to buy at current rates before prices go up. I'm not going to buy a deal that only makes sense if I can refinance to a lower rate. I'm going to find a cash flowing deal now. But what I'm going to do is go from, instead of looking at my listing that comes from my agent once a week because I wasn't in buy mode, I'm going to go back to the one rental at a time, 15 to 30 minutes a day.
Yep.
Until I find the next great deal, with purpose, with my knowledge that I've learned in the last, 10 to 15 years of buying real estate and everything I've learned from you guys, and buy that next deal, which I wasn't going to do until I realized this is why it's timing the market. I wasn't going to do this if I thought rates were going to continue flat or continue up, because I didn't matter. But I just see this as a window of opportunity. Like, I'm not a stock guy.
Yeah.
I saw a window of opportunity to buy Tesla, and I've made about 14 grand. If I sold it now, I'm going to wait a year for capital gains to hit. I'm not a stock guy, so don't listen to me on stocks. But in real estate, don't time the market. I'm changing my workload, not my
Yeah, I want to be very clear. I said it earlier, but I want to say it again. I'm not telling you this is a great time to buy. I'm telling you it's a great time to write disrespectful offers. Why do I say that? It's fucking simple. More supply, less demand equals more motivated sellers. Your job's to go find them. And the only way I know to find them, again, I'm not sending mailers. I'm not door knocking. I'm not sending texts. I'm a lazy SOB who doesn't have to buy. I'm just going to buy out of the MLS like I did for 15 freaking years. And I'm going to write offers that are 20, 25% below list, and they'll say yes or they'll say no. And I won't feel bad about it because I'm not a home buyer. I'm not trying to find my forever home. I'm trying to buy a quality rental that makes above average yield. And oh, by the way, let's be honest, I want to walk into 6 figures of equity. It's just, that's when you don't have to do something, it's a great time. And lastly, I agree with you. I'm actually timing the market. This is a buyer's market. I have been doing this for 25 years. I've lived through, this is now my second real buyer's market. And I made most of my wealth in the last buyer's market. Mm-hmm. So I expect to do it again. Matt?
I agree. I mean, I got 3 deals under contract last week. So there you go.
And you're in the Northeast. You're in the Northeast, right? The one part of the country that's still quasi seller's market.
It is. I think that we're definitely seeing that shift. We're seeing wish pricing go away. We're seeing massive reductions in some cases. We're seeing rental units stay on market longer. The people that were Airbnbers, and they're seeing their vacancy rates much higher than they ever have been. Because much fewer Canadian visitors. Yeah. So they're seeing a lot of that stuff. And I think, yay for me, so sad for them. They weren't diversified. But I think the biggest differentiator for me is I'm not just looking at MLS, I'm looking at everything. I've got everything coming my way. Wholesalers and other rental agents that I've reached out to, and other people that other investors that are like, yeah, it might be time to let this one go, thinning the herd a little bit. And I'll take their worst one at my best price, you know? And so the cool thing is that, if you set some of that stuff up, or if you've already set it up, you're seeing the benefits of it now. If you haven't set it up yet, you can see the benefits of it in the next 60 days. Now is the time to set this stuff up. Like we talk about with, linking up with some wholesalers and talking to more realtors and when you do all of that stuff, getting some stuff pre-market, the best things can happen. Like none of those are my worst deals. My worst deals are always MLS deals. They're always the worst ones that I've done. Now it's some deal flow and they're still worth doing. Otherwise I wouldn't have bought them, but those aren't my best deals. My best deals are the ones that I get other ways.
Yeah. Again, when you're doing this game and you're really serious about it, like Matt, you got to grow your network, 2 new people a week. It's on the standard 7 ORaaT rules. All right. You can put the foot down like Matt is still doing. I choose to be rather lazy. I don't have to buy. I think that's pretty clear. But I want to, all right. I want to build a 3-4 unit portfolio where I live now in Nevada. And I'm just going to do it the old way. And we'll see if it works. Again, folks, buyer's markets don't last forever. This buyer's market, to Dion's point, it could be over quickly. Rates fall, prices skyrocket. The other thing that I thought was really interesting is I saw a number this morning that we have single family homes. Right now we have 1.3 million active listings, but if you just look at single family homes, it's about 820,000, right? Just single family homes. And it's estimated that if rates fell just to 6.5, we would unlock about 2 million buyers. I'll say that again. Rates fall to 6.5, unlocks 2 million buyers in a market with only 800,000 available homes. What do you think happens if we go to 6%, 5.5? This thing could get bananas quickly. So again, you could wait like everybody else who's like scared and Chicken Little and blah, 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 and then wait for this thing to turn around where we'll be smiling and saying, I told you so again. Buyers markets are amazing. It doesn't feel great. Everybody's negative, but that's exactly when I want to buy. Dion?
I think I've figured out one of my other superpowers. You know, there's guys like Brandon Turner, when they're talking about a subject, they come up with a catchy phrase and it makes it spread like viral.
Yep.
I have figured out how to present a concept in like one sentence to piss Matt off. Then give me 5 minutes to explain it and Matt will go, oh, I agree.
Surprising details actually makes me want to think about it more.
There you go. There you go.
I don't. So you're saying I don't buy into kitschy slogans?
Yes, that's very smart of you. But yeah.
Good, perfect. I won't fall for a guru. That's why I've taken both of your courses.
There you go. Well, Dion, the other thing I just want to remind folks is I love the fact that you're upping your, once a week kind of so to daily execution. Obviously, I'm a big fan of that. But you also have a track record. And I want to remind people of the duplex deal you bought, right? This was, I think, a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, listed for 500. I don't remember the full details, but something like 500. You offered 4. They said this, they said that. You said 4. They said this, they said 4. Round and around and around. Guess what? You got it for 4, and now you're sitting on, I don't know, $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 in total equity. This next deal you're gonna do, I think it's gonna shock you how good it is.
I think it really comes down to knowing your market, knowing the numbers that work, and understanding negotiation. Right. And there's, to me, there's 3 aspects of negotiation. Most people only focus on 2. It's what do they want and what do I want? Right. Mm-hmm. People always forget to think about what are we both losing?
Yes.
When you do that. So I knew my number limits, and I knew it wasn't the only deal. That's what I think a lot of the newer people that I talk to that say, oh, I've got this deal, I'd like to make an offer. And I could tell they have got tunnel vision. The whole world goes away except for this one transaction. So they'll start to negotiate with themselves on how much worse they'll make the deal and still pursue it. Instead of thinking, what's the logical limit of the worst negotiation I would do? And don't budge on that. You put those limits in place to protect yourself. Yeah. And I'll do that on the next deal too. And it could absolutely be, I find a deal on the MLS and I make an over asking price offer.
Oh, it could happen.
The list price to me means nothing. It could be the agent going, hey, we're gonna list this really low to get a bunch of attention. And I'll know in my market with my rents and the demand for that property in that specific small market, not the whole county, but I mean that these 3 streets, what is the rate like there? What's all of the aspects of the area? And I'll go, this number makes sense. It could be 100,000 below. It could be 10,000 above.
It's funny you bring this up. It's so funny. Like the only time I can remember paying over list price was during the housing crash. Olivia and I found this listing. It was on our list when we were going down every other week. So we were moving and grooving. But there was this house listed and we only went to go see it because it was like around the corner from another house we were looking at. And like, if it was a few blocks away, we wouldn't have seen it, but we were like literally driving by it on the way to the next one. And we get out of the car and we're like, this kind of looks like we thought it would. So we weren't, I don't remember the numbers, but we weren't going to buy it at that price. And more importantly, we weren't going to buy it at, I think we learned it was 14% below list. They would say yes. And 15% they would say no. So everything we went to, we wrote 14% below, trying to get as much as we could. And we're like, nope, that's not even a deal at 14%. And then Olivia goes, what's that in the back? So we walk around, it was on a corner lot, and it turned out to be a separate house that had complete access, complete fence. We validated that the house was with the one in the front. And again, this was an out-of-state, bank listing a house for sale, and they only gave value to the front house, not the back house, which was bigger and newer and nicer. So guess what? We wrote an over asking because we knew lots of people would coming, and we got that. It's still one of my coolest stories. But the only time I paid more than asking is because the listing agent didn't understand what they had. Mm-hmm. So I will do that again. If that happened again, I'd buy it again. Yeah.
Absolutely. And listing agents make those mistakes all the time because 90% of realtors absolutely suck and shouldn't be realtors. Sorry, way it goes. I know everyone hates me because I'm mean to realtors, but you know what? Don't suck, and I'm not mean to you.
Yeah, you're not mean. There's 10% that you love.
I absolutely adore the 10% because they look like Mensa members compared to the other 90%. And so, what's really cool is, one of the best properties I ever bought was from a moron realtor, but I felt bad because she literally cost her person. She abbreviated in her brilliance, abbreviated the zoning for the property.
Oh, no.
And it had a duplex on it. She abbreviated the zoning. And so I'm looking at it and I was like, that doesn't seem right. I know that there's some pockets up in those areas that are a -G, and a -G stands for basically density.
Right.
And so I look, sure enough, that lot is actually a -G that she omitted because she wanted to abbreviate it.
Yeah.
She omits that. It's actually prime for a 20-unit building that can be purchased there. The dirt is worth 3 times more than what I bought the property for. So yeah, I mean, thank you, idiot realtor. But at the same time too, I didn't want to see that for that other person, but it's not my job. That's her job.
Yep.
So people need to be ever cognizant, do the extra step. Part of your work should be looking up the zoning and getting familiar with the zoning in the towns that you're looking in, because the possibility of adding ADU, the possibility of a knockdown and building a fourplex, these are all massive elite level strategies that even the beginners can unlock. And because even if you don't buy that, even if you just buy it because it cash flows as it is, you can then sell that later to somebody that says, I want to build a fourplex in this nice established neighborhood, but I can't find land because everybody else knows what land they have. It's an elite strategy that carries with it 6 figures every single time you execute.
Yeah. Folks, at the end of the day, we are clearly in a buyer's market where most people are scared and doing nothing and literally doing nothing, but they're not shopping. All three of us are being more, well, I'll say this. I'm being more aggressive now than I've been in the last 2 years. I think Dion has shared that. Matt, clearly with 3 deals going, is the same. So we're all being more aggressive now. We know that buyers markets are amazing. Dion, closing thoughts and where they can find you?
You can find me right here on YouTube. Coughing. Dion Talk Financial Freedom. I think the closing thoughts is don't rush and don't wait. But this is the time to do the work.
There you go. Love that. And Matt?
Check me out Thursday night. Tomorrow night we'll be talking about, or if depending on when you see this video, but Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, I'll actually be covering the 3 strategies that I'm using right now that created those 3 deals. They are all of huge value. And obviously I wouldn't be doing 3 deals if they weren't 3 of the best deals that I've seen in the last 2 years. And these deals are not little. These deals are crushers. They are double-digit to 20% returns within 6 months. Like, they're just no brainers. So do more if you want to get there faster, or don't.
Awesome. Take care, guys. Thanks for everything. Talk next week.
See you, boys.
Ciao.